You would think that after finishing the whole book I would remember more than 2 character names, but no, I only remember the kid, Nolan, and the neighbor's cat, Bib Pertuna. Hi folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat and today I would like to talk about Branches by Adam Peter Johnson. In this sci-fi novel, a man, whose name I don't think we ever learn, suffers from seizures. And after he receives pills that he has to take for a week, he should be free of those seizures because he will return to his correct timeline. During the week that he has to take those pills to get to his original timeline, alternate universe, he passes through many a reality with small changes and sometimes bigger changes, and some things that just hinge on a single choice that was made once upon a time. But some things always stay the same. Talking about this without giving away too much is a bit tricky, to be honest. But I would say the main character can pass for a stand-in for any left-leaning white person, as in anybody who doesn't want to see right-wing fascists in government, who is at least moderately aware of racism and the systematic issues stemming from it, but is still baffled every time he encounters it himself. And it is not the racism being directed at him, he is a white dude, but every time it happens to 2 characters he meets and befriends throughout various timelines, it just seems to completely take him off guard. So the whole book is quite political, and it's quite clear who a certain character is supposed to be. You don't actually meet this character, he's just a politician on the side, but he's one of the reasons why the man decides to take those pills, aside from his seizures. He's like, oh wow, I could leave this reality and not see this person in power. I'm here for it. The character also runs into police brutality in quite a few timelines, and a lot of other things seem to be completely out of whack as well, but like, you sometimes see it in the background when news are being mentioned somewhere, and he never directly tangles with any of this, but like the capital is under siege and militant extremists of some sort, I don't think we actually hear which side they are for, occupy other government buildings, and like just the news you hear in the back are just wild, completely wild. I'm going into moderate spoiler territory now. For some of the timelines he passes through, the political climate is slightly different, as in somebody else won the election for presidency. But it doesn't change the overall situation being quite bad, with people being arrested for no reason, the police brutality running rampant, and some other things that just seem really off, and like, what kind of universe do you live in? But it's actually not that far removed from where we are right now. And I'm pretty sure that's what the novel is actually trying to tell you. Even though the main character eventually realizes that his actual problem was never the political climate or any external factor, but something that he could only fix himself because it was tied directly to his person. Some bits were quite funny. I mean, those are just like random comments for something on the side, not something that's really for the main story. But at some point he picks up his kid at elementary school, preschool I think, and they have this wall full of animals that remind the kids that they actually need to use the bathroom. So I don't know, I guess preschool age pooping your pants is still a thing. I don't remember, too long ago, I don't have kids. But they have those animal pictures on the walls that remind the kids, and they all look very ecstatic about pooping, and he makes a comment about, yeah, well, maybe we're overselling it here, it's not like Nirvana. And it's like, yeah, okay, thank you. And then there was another comment that was the opposite and not so great. At some point there on the plane, he's like, oh yeah, well, pilots barely have to do anything, autopilot is doing the whole flying for them. And the pilot is hardly more than a midwife or something. Excuse me, do you think giving birth is like autopilot? It just happens and the midwife is just there to push 1 or 2 buttons, if you will? Because as far as I know, there's a lot more involved, and A midwife has a lot more to do in most births than a pilot has during your average flight. But yeah, so I don't know, it's one of the few things I actually marked in the book was like, was this necessary? But outside of that, the writing is serviceable. I don't recall anything standing out all that much to me, which means it's perfectly fine. So while I overall agreed with the political leanings of this character, it took him quite some time to actually get going and get involved and do something to try and alleviate the situation beyond sharing things on social media. At times the character is quite confused as to where he is and what is happening and what has gone wrong now because people behave differently around him, but he doesn't know why. And I totally get it, he goes through so many timelines. I was just as confused as the character at points. But then I'm easily confused by time travel, so... Okay, without giving you any more spoilers, I think this was overall a thoughtful novel, very political, and it might stay with you for quite a while. And I think overall I would give it this cat, which I will probably name Bib Fortuna in honor of this novel for the moment. Bib Fortuna is the neighbor's cat, and from time to time this cat sneaks into his house, and in several timelines he thinks he actually owns this cat because he doesn't recognize him. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite book including time travel. Like and subscribe if you want to help this channel out, and I'll be back next week with another video. Bye folks!